It's 9 a.m. and I would like to call to order the meeting of the Transportation Committee of November 14th, 2024. Before we begin, please note this meeting is being recorded. Welcome to my colleagues and everyone joining us here in person, as well as those listening on the phone. If you would like to provide public comment at today's meeting, and if you have not done so already, please let Thomas in the back of the room or Justine on the call-in line know what items you would like to speak on today. Madam Secretary, please begin calling the roll.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Starting with Director Hernandez.
Here.
Holton Peters. Satson. Rabbit.
Here.
Berdoni.
Here.
Safai. Absent. Thier is absent. Vice Chair Maston.
Here.
Chair Hill.
Here.
And President Cochran.
Here.
You have a quorum and you are exactly a committee of the whole. We also have in the room Directors Cochran, Giudice, Roswell, and Theriot.
Okay, thank you. Secretary, please introduce the first item.
Thank you, Chair Hill. We're going to start with agenda item number 3, which is an informational report regarding the district's advisory committees. Staff reports available online and also in your packet. We did not include all the attachments because it would have made your packets very thick. So we saved the trees and we made them available online if you want to see all the attachments. The agendas are in your packet, but staff is available to answer any questions from directors.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments from directors regarding item number 3? Seeing none, that concludes the discussion on this item. Madam Secretary, is there anyone from the public wishing to speak to this item?
Getting no speakers on this item.
Thank you. No action is required for item number 3. We will move on to agenda item number 4, which is a report to approve the updates of the agency safety plan for the Golden Gate Transit. The staff report begins on page 45, and Paul McClelland, I'm going to say it again, Paul McClelland is here to present the report. Paul, please begin.
Good morning, Chair Hill and members of the committee. My name is Paul McClelland. I'm the Director of Fleet Facilities as well as the SMS Executive in the Bus Division. I'm here this morning to present item number 4, approve updates to the agency safety plan. I'd like to provide some background on the agency safety plan. The board adopted the ASP back in October of 2020 in response to the Federal Transit Administration's Public Transportation Agency Safety Plan, or PTASP, rule. The agency safety plan is structured around the concept of Safety Management System, or SMS. SMS is a comprehensive, collaborative approach to managing the safety in the workplace. A major goal is to bring everybody together at all levels of the organization to control safety risks, detect and correct safety problems, share and analyze safety data, and measure safety performance. The 4 components of SMS are 1, safety management policy, 2, safety risk management, 3, safety assurance, and 4, safety promotion. As per the FTA, Golden Gate Transit is required to annually review the agency safety plan and bring any significant changes to the board for approval. The changes being presented to the committee today are in response to the first major updates to the Public Transportation Agency Safety Plan regulations, which went into effect on May 13th, 2024, to advance the safety management system processes, increase the improvement of safety committee, and expand training requirements and further address safety hazards. As a result, the new major updates to the PTAP regulations, the following main or primary updates have been made to the agency safety plan. The ASP order of adoption has been updated on the approvals page. The ASP must be signed by the accountable executive and then approved by the safety committee and then approved by the board of directors. Golden Gate Transit safety performance measures have been updated in ASP to reflect changes from the National Safety Plan. There are now a total of 15 safety performance measures for Golden Gate Transit, 10 previously, 5 added. The 5 newly added are collision rate, pedestrian collision rate, vehicular collision rate, transit worker fatality rate, and transit worker injury rate. Golden Gate Transit's annual fiscal year safety performance targets were set by reviewing a 3-year rolling average of National Transportation Database reportable events. A target goal of a 5% reduction has been established annually. The safety management policy statement in the agency safety plan has been updated to address the role of the safety committee in improving safety and cooperation with frontline transit workers and representatives. The safety committee role has been expanded. The safety committee will need to set 8 performance targets for the safety performance measures in the risk reduction program. Establish procedures for composition, responsibilities, and operations of the safety committee. Establish how the safety committee will arrange. Let me rephrase that. Establish how the safety committee will manage disputes to ensure that it carries out its operations. Accountable executive may not be designated to resolve disputes within the safety committee. The ASP has been updated to include near misses reporting. The PTAP regulation states that we must establish and implement a process that allows transit workers to report near misses. Golden Gate Transit is currently working on establishing and implementing a process for employees to report near misses in the employee reporting system. The target date to roll this out is in 2025. In the risk reduction program, the role of the accountable executive has been updated to include the following responsibilities. Accountable executive will receive and consider all safety risk mitigations recommended by the safety committee. When Golden Gate Transit Safety Committee recommends a safety risk mitigation unrelated to the safety risk reduction program and the accountable executive decides not to implement a safety risk mitigation, the accountable executive must prepare a written statement explaining their decision. The accountable executive must submit and present this explanation to Golden Gate Transit Safety Committee and the Board of Directors. In Section 3.0 of the Agency Safety Plan, the following additions have been made to the safety assurance. Golden Gate Transit will establish a process for assessing its safety performance annually. Golden Gate Transit will monitor safety performance against annual safety performance targets set by the Safety Committee for the risk reduction program. If Golden Gate Transit does not meet established annual safety performance targets set by the Safety Committee for Safety Risk Reduction Program, it must assess and mitigate the associated risk, mitigate associated safety risk based on the results of safety assessments using the methods or processes established in the Agency Safety Plan. Finally, the Agency Safety Plan was updated with a new Golden Gate Transit bus organizational structure that was approved by the board in May of 2024, as well as other factual changes to reflect the most current information in the ASP. The general manager, as the accountable executive, reviewed and signed the ASP on September 30th of 2024, and the Safety Committee has reviewed and approved updates to the Agency Safety Plan on October 23rd of 2024. There is no fiscal impact at this time with the updates to the ASP. Closing, the staff is respectfully requesting approval for the updates of the ASP version November 2024 for Golden Gate Transit in compliance with the FTA's Public Transportation Safety Plan and rule. At this time, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Paul, for your presentation. Is there anything further on this item from staff?
Just one of the fundamental changes in the new regulation that came out in May is it expanded the role of unions that represent transit workers in this process. And so I just want to make sure that you're all aware of that and we're in full compliance of that. So previously they were part of the safety committee, but previously if there was a dispute between management and the union representatives, that management could do what it felt was appropriate. And so they modified that process. We never had that issue arise here at Golden Gate. It's a nationwide change. But I just want to make sure that you're aware of it, that we have a committee that's made up of people selected by the union and by the district that reviewed this and they blessed this. And that's why it's before you here today.
Are there any questions? Oh, excuse me. I was going to ask him. Go ahead.
This probably doesn't have to deal with the new plan, but I'm just curious, was 2024 a good year for safety at the Golden Gate Bridge Transit District? There weren't many instances of attacks on bus drivers or on our workers, were there this year?
No significant ones. We've had some minor altercations. That's a big focus of transit agencies. We're fortunate that we haven't had the issue that some of our sister agencies have had in the Bay Area. So we haven't had any significant ones, so we have had a couple minor ones.
And I noticed there's a section dealing with diseases and so forth. Do we know if our rate of people getting COVID was any worse than the other transit agencies, about the same, or do we know?
I don't think we know that. I mean, we haven't had any since my last memo went out a little over a month ago.
You did a good job keeping us abreast.
So we'll continue to keep you and all the employees abreast. We didn't have some of the challenges that some transit agencies had in terms of issues with vaccinations. We did not mandate it. You may have read newspapers that BART tried to mandate it. They just paid a significant sum of money. But we had the same growing problems everyone else did. We did not have any on-duty employees who passed away due to COVID. We had one employee who was on a long-term leave that had not been on the property for over 18 months that did pass, but we didn't have anyone that passed. And so we survived that fast of the pandemic, reasonably well compared to just the broader community as well as other transit agencies.
Thank you.
Are there any more questions or comments from members? Go ahead, Mike.
First of all, I want to thank you again for producing our red line. It makes reviewing this thing a lot easier. But the question I have has to do with on page 126, the annual safety performance targets and performance measures. There's a number of targets there. Major events 1, collision rate 0.031, vehicular collision rate 0.03. Why are they not simply 0?
0 is what you're asking?
Yes.
Well, while we'd like them to be 0, we have to start somewhere obtainable goal. So, naturally, we'd like them all to be 0.
Yeah, it's a target, not an expectation. So 0 could be the target.
You're not going to work that day. 0 is work.
He's worried about bike riders.
We're worried about all kinds of things.
I guess I would add to that because, like I mentioned as I was reading through the updates, that we have to meet what we say we're going to. When we say we're going to reduce, injuries or assaults or collisions by a certain percent, and we don't meet those objectives, then we could potentially be penalized from FBA. So.
That's unfortunate. On construction sites, the goal is always 0 lost time accidents. It's posted, and that seems to me a rational approach. But I get what you're saying.
And you're completely right. I mean, we had a hard time, not setting them all at 0 because that's ultimately what we all want, right?
Yeah,
that's a very good point.
Yes, my 30 years at Bike was always right by the gate as you went in. Are there any other questions, comments? Seeing none, that concludes discussion on item number 4. Is there anyone from the public wishing to speak?
We have no speakers from the public.
Okay. Thank you. May I have a motion on agenda for item number 4?
So
Do we have a second?
Wait a second.
Okay, all right, thank you. Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Let the record show there's no opposition and the motion passes. Thank you.
Thank
We will now move on to agenda item number 5, which is a monthly report on bridge traffic, transit ridership trends, and transit service performance. Dennis, go ahead with your report.
Because our meeting is early this month, we have nothing new to report. We do not have the October data in front of you, so it's the same report you saw last month. So full disclosure. But if you have questions on the old data, I'm available to answer them.
Are there any questions? Seeing none. Dennis, thank you for your report. That concludes discussion on this item. Madam Secretary, is there anyone from the public wishing to speak?
No one wishing to speak on item 5.
Okay, thank you. No action is required on this informational report. We will move on to item number 6, a monthly report on activities related to Marin Transit. Dennis, do you have anything to report related to this item?
All is good with relationship with Marin Transit. They made a couple minor modifications in the amount of service they're getting from us, but they're still above the maximum allowed in the contract, which is good for us. And as you saw last month, there's a lot of joint planning work underway with all the operators in Marin and Sonoma counties. We've dubbed the effort mascots, and so that is continuing. You had a presentation last month that kind of gave you the foundation or background, existing condition. In the coming months, we'll have additional presentations talking about some of the ideas that we think collectively might work best for the community. So we look forward to those future presentations too.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Seeing none, that concludes discussion on this item, and there is no action required for item number 6. Madam Secretary, is there anyone in the public wishing to speak on item 7 or address this committee under item 7, which is a public comment?
We have no speakers for this committee.
Okay, thank you. We have reached the end of the agenda. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Seconded. Hearing no objections, this concludes the meeting of the Transportation Committee. Thank you, colleagues. The time is 9:18 a.m.